continue to talk about powerful questions. So this is like really emotional for me, honestly, to think about this question, because through CHJL's program, it's helped me really understand what it means to be in self. And when I'm in self, it's so like grounding and so like emotional for me, because I'm accessing things that have always been there, but like now I'm like listening. Now I'm like in tuned. Now I'm understanding. And now when I'm in these other situations in my life, I'm like being reminded of self and like presencing self and like understanding what that feels like in my body to be able to know whether I'm currently in relationship with it, to then be able to access those different amazing gifts and parts and the ancestors and the spirit that come from being in self. And it's just continuing that intentional practice for me, and trying to strengthen that connection, right? It's trying to strengthen that connection with self. And with parts, it's about like honoring them and acknowledging them and thanking them for their presence and for all the things that they have done for me, and starting to redefine what kind of relationship we have so that I can be in self and be self-led and not have parts lead me. And so it's like, yeah, it's like strengthening this relationship with self and parts and redefining what that relationship looks like for the both of us or all of us going forward. Yeah.
I just want to say that like I've had the honor and the privilege of being coached by April. And I think in that way, it's like when April's showing up in self in support of me in a coaching session, it's like it's an invitation for myself to show up. And it's like been really incredible to figure out what embodied self feels like, the ACs feels like, and to be held by somebody also in the practice of it. And so I just want to, thank you for that, April. And I also, appreciate how you've modeled it for me and in shaping my own relationship to self and my parts. And I want to say that I'm getting to know self, and how incredible it is to be operating from there, or to be like standing in that, and then also interacting and relating from that place, and to know what it feels like, because so much of, for me, it's like through my head, and so much of how I show up in the world is in our bodies, and how we are showing up every day in our relationships, as our day-to-day habits and interactions. So I'm getting to know it, and knowing that there's wisdom in there, to quiet down to hear it enough. And in relationship to parts, I'm like really not judging them anymore. I think before it was very much like, I don't want that part to show up. I don't want this. I don't want to be this way. And now it's like I have such a better understanding of why it's there, and to let that wisdom show up and have a softer relationship with it. So, to honor the whole system, the whole family, the whole gang, however you showed up. So, yeah.
I love that. Did you want to go?
I'm sure. Thank you. As you were speaking, Helen, it was making me think of how like my relationship with self and my parts is so much in community with folks, with my cohort, with others who are also moving through this, and how I see it like mirrored, that it helps me be in relationship and get to see like what it can look like. And I feel like as someone who myself and my parts is I've always had this fascination with those old VW vans, that like camper vans with the pop top. Like that's like my dream someday, to have like a 70s VW van. And myself and my parts for me is like, I feel like I have been in this van, and my parts were like driving, fighting over who's driving, like all my life. And now, like I'm like, oh, there's a new driver. She's not new. They've always been there, but they've like kind of claimed space and been like, the driver's seat is mine. You all get to be here and support me. And that's how that dance feels for me, of continuing to come back and get to know this driver, and the way they receive direction, and what does this GPS feel like, and leaning into that, and then with the parts, like continuing to be in conversation and getting to know them from a place of love and compassion, because for the longest time I feel like it was a parts party all the time, every day. So I feel like there's a calmness that I'm able to feel in my body that I've actually never felt. So that I've never felt without being like on drugs or drinking or other substances, right? Like just in my body, in my natural state.
Yeah.
Can I touch your shoulder?
Yes.
That's really beautiful. Do you want a tissue?
I'm good.
Okay. I love that you talked about the dance. Like, so much of what you all said like really resonates with me. And the dancing, it is a dance. I feel like I'll start with the parts first. Like, my relationship with my parts has become so soft and like a constant like reach to be cognizant of them. And sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you can drive this one. Go ahead, right? Like in this moment, like go ahead. Like throw that punch. Like do what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll reclaim the driver's like, I'll lead the dance now. I know you wanted to get that out. You're welcome. And then like I'll lead the dance. But I will say like my relationship to self is like a lot like what you all said, and I feel like there's a bit of a zoom out. Like I'm like so connected to the cosmos. Like I feel like here I am in this terrestrial body, and like we are celestial beings, and I think about the vastness of the cosmos and how it's such a reflection of our inner world. So like all of our parts, you know what I mean? There's stars up there, and that's what we're made out of. And so I think, yeah, my relationship to self is really one, like just a lot of curiosity. And like with my parts, I'm like, oh, I love you all. Like, what do you got for me today? You know what I mean? Were you so interesting? And I think a challenge for me too is to not like infantilize my parts. You know what I mean? I'm a parent, and I'm, and I'm like, don't treat your parts like like your kid. And so I think that's like a journey I'm on right now. That's really nourishing, and like it's teaching me a lot, and my parts teach me so much, and like care for me. And I think ultimately my relationship with self is like it's divine. It's you know what I mean? It's how I'm meant to be. And it feels like so much ease. And it feels easy and good and whole, and like I feel so nourished like in this space. Like that's all I'm feeling, and it feels so nice. And I think how I would describe myself from self is really like divine. Like I am a creation of the creator, and therefore just by that, like that's, I don't have to do anything, just exist.
Hearing you say divine, that resonates so much. I feel like my journey to self and continuing to discover self has also been very much rooted in like my journey back to like, to like my relationship to Allah, coming back to my spiritual roots. And so when I feel in self, it is when I feel so deeply connected to Creator, and it's just it's like how you described. I feel connected to all beings, all of universe, and it's magical. It's magical, and I'm just like in deep gratitude to find that. Especially having been on a journey for so long where I couldn't connect to my spiritual practices because of my queerness. And so I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It is really emotional. Like this journey is like so emotional and very spiritual. And I think especially like us living in the bodies we live in this society, our identities, our communities, our families, our people have been so oppressed and so stripped away from self. And when I think about like this journey of reconnection to self, it's like a sense of belonging. Oh, it's just like, and it feels like so good. And it feels like how have I been living without this for this much time, you know? And it's just like finally home, you know. We've talked a lot about like welcome home and this gathering, and it's like it's so real. Like it's like being at home in our bodies, in self. Like I am finally home, you know. And like it's just there's so much medicine in that connection that comes out in each of us into the world. And like it's just like I'm just so excited about like what that is going to be and what that's going to look like and what it's going to continue to look like, because it's already having such impact, you know, in the people that we are able to come in contact with, be in relationship with. But yeah, that sense of belonging and like returning to self is like so real. It's like the belonging and acceptance too, like acceptance of self, you know, like I'm noticing that the change for me too is I'm not searching for external validation and external acceptance in the ways that I have most of my life. And now I'm just like just so deep in gratitude and appreciation of like my own acceptance of my own self. Yeah.
I just want to name that there's a part of me that totally knows we're being recorded. And so it's just sort of chatting in my mind, chatting right here. And also hearing all you talk about what self is like, how it feels, what your relationship to self is, a reminder of like, I also feel self here as well. You know, it feels like deep calm. It feels like connection. It feels like curiosity and connectedness. Encourage. It's like all the C's, and it feels very. It took a long time for me to have it sort of sink from top down into what it actually feels like in an embodied way. And I think for a long time I was trying to understand cognitively what self is, and it's when I allow myself to be here, you know, kind of in this conversation, even though the part's like y'all would be recorded. The self is like, oh, I do. It's felt. It's a felt sense of what it feels like to live into this deep spaciousness, this divine, this connection. Yeah, it's kind of ineffable in a way. Yeah. It's actually, it's beingness, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a coaching session, to step into self is like, I'm not actually putting anything on or doing anything different. It's like your own stuff that you're trying to arrive at, and that's what you're bringing into the space with others. And then because it's ineffable, it's also deeply felt by others when you know come, when you're moving with them from that place. Yeah.
What about our parts? Anyone want to share like what parts like you've been in closer relationship with?
Yeah, I would say I'm in a lot closer relationship with the parts that are shaped by our dominant oppressive culture, where it, you know, it's like asking for perfectionism, it's moving quickly, it's productivity and efficiencies, all those things that like have taken shape to survive and to get through. And I see it. I see the wisdom. I see I also can even track when maybe it formed, you know, when I'm really kind of in deep relationship and I'm maybe touching in a meditation with the parts that it's alive, and really hearing it out, and even asking for what it wants to share with me. And I noticed that once I do that, when I develop a relationship with these parts, the parts that are judgy, it actually is less judgy the next time that I expect it to show up. I'm like, oh, that felt more easeful. And so I give thanks to the parts that are usually trying to wrestle for control. And I'm usually like, okay, damn, you know, we are in relationship. And now I have, I'm able to kind of get even maybe to the story keeper who's sort of like hanging on to something, and then, you know, working to develop a relationship with those stories around, what has taken shape in me. And so it's been a constant softening around what shows up, and I'm holding space to listen to what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, parts. Yeah. I feel like there's like two parts that I have just really gotten to know well, and continuing to be in compassionate relationship with. And one is my inner critic. The other one I realize is this part that has really kept me, like, told me like I need to stay small in the world. And what I am just so much in gratitude to coaching and to like the spaces and like the journeys that CHJL has opened up for me around parts is realizing and learning that my parts are both like protectors, but they're also the pathways through which I am getting to connect with my ancestors, and learning that, for example, like, you know, the part around being small kept women and femmes and queer folks in my lineage safe. And also in journeying with my parts, being able to receive from them that they're like, I see you in self energy and we are with you. And you don't have to be small anymore. So the being small part is like, I got you. Go be and do that which was not safe for us. And we're here to tell you when you do need to get small, because the world is not fully small.
Right.
So my parts have become dear friends and my connection to my ancestors. And that's just been, that has like shifted my relationship in really big ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling that. I think
feel
I'm
that.
feeling that on it.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel, I resonate with that so much. At all. Like, thank you for sharing that, because it's like, I'm not just healing myself in this current realm. It's like I'm healing my ancestors who didn't get to this place, or weren't able to get to this place. And, arriving here on Tongva land, I went to the ocean. I didn't see, I call her. I haven't seen her in a long time. And I just sat and like prayed and made an offering. And like, I was speaking to my maternal grandmother, who I've never met because she passed before I was born. And, but she's like the ancestor I feel. I've always felt her. Even when I was a kid, I would talk about her, even though I never met her. And as I'm like building this relationship with parts and like, softening the different energy around perfectionism and productivity and remaining small, or, all the different things, I'm noticing having more conversations with her, because I'm noticing that, like, I know that this is healing her too, and there's, like, as I've been connecting and reconnecting to my own Indigenous identity and being Dene, like, I don't speak our language, and I'm trying, and it's very emotional for me. It's very challenging for me. And like that, so what you said just like really spoke to me, because I remember being in a therapy session, and my therapist like had me talk to my grandmother around, like, it's safe now. You can I can learn our language now for you, right? I can do these things for you. And like, just like that, like, I feel that so strongly. And like the way that, it just like has this deep ancestral healing. And so like, there's something about that shifts my relationship with my parts, that soften those things, and that allows space to like reconnect, to feel confident and really strong, and like having a lot of power around like my different identities, so thank you for sharing that, because that's real. That's real.
I'm glad y'all named the ancestral connection too, because I similarly, like the parts that I'm really getting acquainted with. First of all, I just want to say I'm so grateful for my protector parts. I'm like, thank you, y'all. I made it this far. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm also like gratitude to the Most High, and like also thanks for these parts. Like, ultimately,
Yes.
And one of the parts that I keep connecting with is super duper like connected to my ancestral like fire, and it's a shapeshifter. It'll like turn into like a heated coil, and I just like, in my conversations and developing this relationship with this part, we'll work in partnership till I'm like, where should I aim right now? Because before knowing, the part would just drive and be like, shooting those air, pew, 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 and I'm like, it's a lot, and then I feel it in my body, and then I can't get up, And this part, it's like, it's connected to this like dignified ancestral rage, and I'm like, and I love you. You are part of why I'm alive. You're part of my aliveness. Thank you. And it is so helpful. Sometimes it'll just be like, I'm mad, and I'm like, okay, what do you need? And other times it's like just sitting with this, wisdom. I got some words for you, but I'll tell you later. Okay, thank you. But it's this ancestral connection, and it feels like I'm stepping into a responsibility and an honor, from my people and from my lineages. You know what I mean? And I'll have like images. I'll just start to see like desert, like where my people are from. I'm like, whoa, wow. And it's a lot of time and space travel, and like this part will accompany me, and it's just a really beautiful, powerful relationship that I'm so grateful for, and I continue to learn.
Yeah. I love that you shared that. And like the thing that's coming up for me right now is also like, because you were in 2 cohorts before ours, and I'm like, ooh, I'm excited to get to where you are, like with your heart and the way that you're like utilizing them. And I'm just like, that's badass.
Yep. I'm just learning about what it's protecting me from. I haven't gotten to a place where we have a relationship where it's like, how do we move here?
Yeah. Oh, can I share? I got coached by someone in a cohort before me who was like, have you ever had your parts talk to each other? And I was like, oh my God, let's go. Let's go. And when that happened, like I physically felt like my muscles like moving.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, did this happen to you? And they'd be like, this is how it is. And I was like, amazing, incredible. And they like will work in partnership with, and sometimes they'll just sit back and they're like, no, go ahead. I'm like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I love that.
I really love the naming of ancestors, because our parts are part of our story, right? And like all the stories that we carry from before, and hearing everything you've shared, it's like the healing into the future and healing into the past, right? Like the role of our us and self and our parts as like the bridge for that, and how I was saying to somebody yesterday about how like being at reunion this weekend is like witnessing the future, right? At the present moment, because like this is possible when we develop relationship with parts and get to know self. And if we can move from these places, what kind of world exists for that, you know? So it's, also being in conversation with all of you is like bringing my part forward, myself forward, and feeling really rooted. Yeah.
As you were speaking, Helen, like it kept reminding me of just being here. I felt like such flow. And I was like, what is this? Like, it's like I've just been in self energy. Like, I'm not used to so effortlessly being in self energy. And I was talking to Sarah yesterday saying how I was at a gathering a few weeks ago where there was a lot of heartbreak. And I was like, I want this for my community, that community. And she was like, well, it's because we are so practiced in self-energy. And I was like, oh, like being in a space where everyone is so like practiced in it, like where my self-energy is just then like ready to come out and play. Like I don't even have to work on it. And so to your point of like, this is what future is in the present. And it's also like really bringing up for me, like it's not lost on me, like we are in the midst of fascism and this connection to ancestor. I come from, I never met my maternal grandmother either, but I come from people where like my mother didn't have a mother growing up and her mother didn't have a mother growing up. And they moved through partition of India and the independence war in Bangladesh. And it's like not lost on me, like even as I'm watching like what is happening here and what is happening in Kashmir right now, what is happening in Bangladesh right now, what is happening in Palestine, like all of it, where I'm like, oh, the ancestral like guidance is like for this moment. And so I'm just like feeling so resourced of being like, oh, and I can move in self with my parts, and kind of thinking about what you said. I'm like, I want to get there where I'm like working with precision with my parts, because I'm feeling that where my parts are like, we're your friends, and I'm ready to be able to be moving with that precision.
Resourced and ready.
We are resourced and ready. Yes. Bring it.
Yeah, I love what you shared about Helen with like this is like the future. Like this is like what the possibilities are and what could be. Because I love living in that space. You know, I love like that's where like the hopefulness and the inspiration comes from for me, and that energy. And I'm just like I don't know, I'm just like soaking it up this weekend and just trying to think about like what's my role and my contribution in like continuing to nurture these types of ways of being in like my own community at home. And like I don't know what that looks like yet, you know, and it's like but there's like possibility, and that's enough to be like excited about. I'm just I love that, thinking about this as like this is like the future, you know, and the direction we're going. And I feel like that like right now, like because of the current political and social times, everything that is happening, like this to me is like the answer and the solution to like the community building that I dream of, and the ancestral and like indigenous ways of kinship and care that I dream of, you know, and that this is like the way that one of the ways that we can get there.